On the phone is former Secretary of State Madeline Albright. Good morning, Madam Secretary. How are you?
Great. Good morning to you.
Thanks for coming on. I assume you watched the debate last night. I assume you've watched previous debates in this election. Can I just say that, did Trump look a little bit more statesmanlike? Will you give him that?
I do. I will give him that. And he didn't do all that sniffing and stuff and pursing the lips and all that. So, yes, I do think he looked a little better.
Yeah.
A long way to go.
Now, you were Secretary of State for, 97 to 2001. You went all over the world. You met with all sorts of dignitaries, ambassadors, etc. Is there any foreign policy discussion going on in this election from either candidate that's not being addressed? That's not being given the weight it should be?
There are a lot of issues that are sort of being addressed. I mean, from my perspective, there's an awful lot of foreign policy going on that does affect our country, and there isn't a chance to really have a sustained discussion about it because, frankly, I don't think that Donald Trump is prepared to have a discussion like that. I know Hillary is, and so I'm trying here to be fair, but the bottom line is he keeps saying the same things time and again about trade or Russians or NATO, and he never goes beyond kind of slogans, and so you never get a sense that he gets what foreign policy is about.
Would you feel like if he were elected president, he would find the right foreign policy people? He would appoint a good, qualified Secretary of State?
Well, I would hope so, but the bottom line is that the various people that I know that are Republicans that have been in those jobs are not working for him or with him, and some of the people that he has found have nobody's heard of. Or have their own kind of peculiar reputation. So it's very hard to tell. First of all, I hope this does not happen because it would be a danger to our country. But at the same time, if for some reason he decides that our elections are fair, he will name somebody who would be willing to work because it is our country after all.
Yeah. Former Secretary of State Madeline Albright joins us about the debates last night. What jumped out from you last night in the debates, whether it was Hillary or Trump?
Well, I think that what Hillary did was go through her experience, which I think is monumental. I've talked about this a lot, is that, Trump saying 30 years, nothing done. The bottom line, she's been a public servant for 30 years. And she did go through that. I think she also explained her growth plans. Trump, I think, as you pointed out, I think he started out pretty well. I really do think, and I don't happen to agree with any of his points, but he was calm and he explained them. I do think that his saying that he wasn't sure or he'd look at how the elections came out later. I've never heard anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's totally stunning. By the way, I'm chairman of the board of an organization called the National Democratic Institute that is abroad a lot and does election monitoring and all those things, the nuts and bolts of democracy. We tell people that, first of all, you have fair and free elections, and you accept the result. And what happens in some countries that we criticize a lot is they say they're not going or they don't accept the results. And for an American presidential candidate to make a statement like that kind of blew my mind. There's no other way to express it.
No, there's a lot of people who are that was the big shining orb from last night, is this talk of, well, I want to leave you in suspense. I don't know if I'm going to support the results. Does that if that happened, how would that affect our country, and how would the rest of the world approach and or view the United States?
I don't want to overstate it, but truly, I think they would think that we were not who we have been for 240 years, a country that is an example of democracy. And there are times, where people question the vote count. I mean, it happened in 2000, so you go through a vote count. and there is a process. And then Vice President Gore said he accepted what the Supreme Court said. So, and there in various states have ways that if somebody says, there was some irregularity, you count the vote and you accept it. And people recognize America as doing that. And it would ruin everything that we think that we present to the world. It's shocking. I think I didn't see the audience, but I'm sure some people jumped out of their seats, and it was really the most egregious thing I've ever heard in a debate.
There was an audible ooh from the audience is what I heard on CBS News this morning. Madeline Albright, former Secretary of State. You'll be at Iowa State today, 2:30 to 3:30 at the 101 College of Design. You'll be, doing a Q&A, doing a speech?
I will be making some remarks and happy to take questions. I always love talking to people. I love coming to Iowa. I come an awful lot. I think it is a great part of America in terms of people being interested in issues, knowing the role that Iowa's always played in our electoral process, first in the nation, and really, so I'm delighted to be here. I was here yesterday, and very, very happy to spend another day in Iowa.
Madeline Albright, she is fluent in English, French, Russian, Czech, and Serb, Croatian, and a little bit of Polish. And the Polish in me says "Nostrovia," Secretary Albright.
Nostrovia. Bardzo dziękuję.
Madeline Albright, it's a pleasure talking to you, and have fun at Iowa State today.
Great. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.